Chuck Benson, congratulations. Preseason number 2 in the SAC coaches poll with, for the second year in a row, a pair of preseason first team all-conference picks. What's this say about the state of your program is you attain some consistent recognition before the season even starts?
Well, I mean, we're thankful to be going to this season with sort of a group of guys that are invested, guys that have been here multiple years, and so we like that veteran status. But of course, our guys also know that preseason rankings, polls, accolades really don't amount to much other than a warm and fuzzy feeling. And so we keep on keeping our guys focused on the task at hand, which is great practices and consistency of execution, and hopefully we'll be able to do what we need to do during the season, so that maybe by the end of the season we're in a good spot.
Break down, if you would, the league as a whole as it sets up with LMU at number 1 with 5 first place votes, and you at number 2 with 5 first place votes. What's that say about the parity of the league with Anderson and Wingate close behind too?
Well, I think our conference is going to be extra tough this season. LMU has just established themselves as a program with a national reputation. Anderson, Elite 8 appearance year before last, and those guys are very consistent and will continue to be so. You add a couple of newcomers, Queens College and Coker, and both those teams are coming in very, very capable of winning games. And other teams that are up and coming, I mean, Catawba, Lenore Ryan, Newberry's always right there in the mix. So there's a great deal of like you said, parity, and hopefully we've got enough of a veteran status that we'll give ourselves a chance.
Let's break down the 2 kids who do make the preseason all-conference team. Antoine Davis, how have you seen him grow leading into his senior season, coming off of a campaign last year where he goes down as SAC Player of the Year?
Well, Antoine is one of those kind of guys that he leaves here in the spring, goes back home, and comes back and finds ways to be better. He's in that every year. He came back this year, and I think he's a more physical player. He's a tough guy mentally. He's a tough guy physically, but he's just more physical in the way he plays. And obviously he can shoot the 3 ball, but I think now his ability to get to the rim consistently and finish and or get to the line is at an all-time high. So we know he's a kid that stays hungry and he's going into this year wanting to yet again make a point, first and foremost for our team, and then secondarily for himself.
What about Ish Sanders? Again, fantastic year last year. He earns first team all-conference honors for a reason. Sets the single season record for Carson-Newman for made threes in a season and has a decent shot at the career mark. What have you seen from him in terms of growth?
Ish is very similar to Antoine. Ish, I sort of think things have sort of come easier for Ish maybe, but I've seen a more focused determination going into this senior year. He's very invested. Antoine's been here multiple years. Ish has been here multiple years, and both those guys know that this is their last go around. So the work that Ish has put in, I've noticed in the practice environment, again, he's always been able to shoot the ball, and he continues to do that. But he's also, I think, added a more aggressive attacking dribble game there. Both those guys know people are coming at him, and so the best way to fight that aggressive approach defensively is to counter that with your own aggressive approach offensively. And so those guys are going to go right back at the opponents and do what they do, whether it's to create scores for themselves or to create scores for the guys on our team.
That's who, when people think of Carson-Newman basketball, I think they think of Antoine and Ish, but you still return 70% of your scoring, and Antoine and Ish are not 70% of your scoring from a year ago. What do you like about how the rest of your team sets up in terms of role players, bench players, and the rest of your starting lineup?
Well, we got 2 other seniors, Ray Likely, who was a valuable part of the team last year. He's the kind of guy that, again, he's been here, he's a senior, he's invested, and he tends to take on whatever role is necessary, whether that's production on the floor, being a solid role player, or being a guy that helps rally the bench and lead from that perspective. So I'm really pleased with Ray and what he's been able to give us. Kevin Leatherwood is a senior. He didn't get to play last year due to an injury, and yet I think he enters this season in the best shape of his life. He dropped 35 pounds or so in the off season. Not that he wasn't carrying bad weight, but he just leaned himself up and worked on his consistency with his shot. And I think he's another kid that really impacts us defensively. He's a great communicator, great leader in that regard. Those are the seniors. We have some other kids. Jared Johnson, who's played a lot of basketball here as a freshman and sophomore, and is just a tough, rugged, physical guard. And then Carson Brooks, I think it might be a kid that he played a lot as a freshman, was second in our conference for goal percentage as a freshman, and he's really developed his game perimeter-wise and still has the post game to go with it. So I like the group, I like the balance, and I think anybody that thinks this is just a two-man show it may be in for a rude awakening.
What do you have to do between now and November 15th, fastly approaching, just 15 days away, when you open up against an NCAA tournament participant here at Holt Fieldhouse in Barton?
Well, we've got to stay with what we always stay with. That's the process, to be consistent, to make sure our execution is as flawless as it can be. Thankfully, truth of the matter is every team in America now is ready to play somebody else. They're tired of playing each other. And yet, I think our guys really seem to sort of understand and value the day in, day out grind that we go through. We take great pride in trying to create a tough practice environment. We're very demanding, and our guys respond to that. I've sort of asked a couple people to come in and take a look at us and give me some feedback, and I've had glowing feedback from those individuals that you guys are getting after it, you're staying focused, and we know that. So we just got to keep doing what we do, and not get ahead of ourselves, and just prepare. We're not preparing for Barton right now. We're preparing for the practice tomorrow, and to be the best we can be in that practice. So I think if we stay focused on just the day-to-day, we'll be okay.
Chuck, congratulations on the preseason accolades.
Thanks, Adam.